Lord. 2. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6. To give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. So once again, I thank everyone for joining Bhakti Sangha conference course. Let us move on to the next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all are joining the call today?
हरे कृष्ण भगवती वसुधा माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रीतिदासी from Charlotte. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindas Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Balavinda.
Hare Krishna, Balabrinda, Dandavas Pranam. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Assembled Devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjri Leela Devi Dasi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari Leela Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharika Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Mataji, all glories Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Rana.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Priya Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Bhagavad. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Please go ahead, Mataji. Smita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. My Dandavat Pranams to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Susmita from Canada.
Hare Krishna, Susmita Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, my humble obeisances to you and all assembled devotees, all Krishna Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Param Pavani Shama Devi Dasi from Baltimore. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Param Pavani Shama Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Aditi Devi Dasi in Canada.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
there anyone who would like to introduce in the call today? Okay, I
Hare
welcome all.
Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shama Guru Vividasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna Shama Gauri Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasundhara
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Dandvat Pranam. This is
Sakalpadru
Kiran
Bhastya
Goyal.
Papa Sindhu Vishwatanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. One more Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Thank you for joining. So I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone
Hare
for
Krishna.
joining to this. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone
I
for
don't know why I
joining
can't
today's
hear you.
Prabhuji, we can hear you, but we can write in a chat message that we can hear him.
Hare Krishna. You can hear me though, right?
Yes,
Yes, yes,
yes.
Unfortunately, I can't hear you. I'll try another headphone.
Thank you everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are really fortunate to have His Grace Mahabhagavat Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 7.8.14 and 15. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You can hear us, Prabhu?
I still cannot hear you. Why?
Maybe audio is connected with some other device.
I have no idea why I can't hear you. These technology
Prabhu, can
issues.
you rejoin?
Okay. We'll just do it one way then. As long as everybody else can hear me, I will get the questions by chat if that's possible. And we'll see if we can work that out. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna ki Yamuna tira vanachari Yamuna tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवजगाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेसला अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी चरण्य गोस्वामी महाराज गोपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। आप सब वैष्णव वृंद की जय। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Thank you very much for joining again. You are doing some very auspicious things by chanting together and hearing the Bhagavatam together, and I'm grateful for this service opportunity. Actually, I'm unfit, but thank you so much for the opportunity. So I will see what we can do here. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 7th canto, one of the most exciting cantos. We are already on chapter 8. We are going to study texts 14 and 15, these shlokas 14 and 15. Can I ask Mother Vinita Gandharvika Mataji to please share the verse so we can read? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll read together. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। एवं दुरुक्तैर्मुहुरर्दयन् रुषा सुतं महाभागवतं महासुरः खड्गं प्रगृह्योत्प्यतितो वरासनात् स्तम्भं तताडिता बलः स्वमुष्टिना। एवं दुरुक्तैर्मुहुरर्दयं रुषा सुतं महाभागवतं महासुरः खड्गं प्रगृह्योत्पतितो वरासनात् स्तम्भं तताडाति बलः स्वमुष्टिनः. So the word by word translations, very significant. Evam, thus, duruktaihi, by harsh words. Muhuhu, constantly. Ardayan, chastising. Rusha, with unnecessary anger. Sutam, his son. Mahabhagavatam, who was a most exalted devotee. Mahasura, Hiranyakashipu, the great demon. Khadgam, sword. Pragrihya, taking up. Utpatitaha, having gotten up. Vara asanat, from his exalted throne. Stambham, the column. Tatada, struck. Atibalaha, very strong. Swamushtina, by his fist. So we'll read the translation. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee son, Prahlad, with harsh words, cursing him again and again. Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. We'll read the translation just once more before we move to the next verse, since this doesn't have a purport. Being obsessed with anger, because this translation itself is also a purport. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee son Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. So now we can go to the next verse. Thank you, Mataji. तदैव तस्मिन् निनदोति भूषणो तदैव तस्मिन् निनदोति भीषणो बभूव येनाण्डकटाहमस्फुटत् यं वै स्वधिष्ण्योपगतं त्वजादयः श्रुत्वा स्वधामात्ययमङ्गमे निरे तदैव तस्मिन् निनदोति भीषणो बभूव येनाण्डकटाहमस्फुटत् यं वै स्वधिष्ण्योपगतं त्वजादयः श्रुत्वा स्वधामात्ययमङ्गमे निरे. Srila Prabhupada's word-by-word translations. Tada, at that time, eva, just, tasmin, within the pillar, ninadaha, a sound, atibhishanaha, very fearful, babhuva, there was, yena, by which andakataham, the covering of the universe, asputat, appeared to crack, yam, which, why indeed, swadhishna upagatam, reaching their respective abodes, two, but Aja Adayah, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Shrutva, hearing, Swadhama Atyayam, the destruction of their abodes, Anga, my dear Yudhishthir, Menire, thought. A translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound, which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. O my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma, and when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. I'll read that translation once more. Then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. Oh, my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma, and when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As we sometimes become very much afraid at the sound of a thunderbolt, perhaps thinking that our houses will be destroyed, the great demigods like Lord Brahma feared the thundering sound that came from the pillar in front of Hiranyakashipu. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakammalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So we'll start with a quick background. Prahlad Maharaj, as we know, received instructions in the womb of his mother from none other than the great Mahabhagavat, Sri Narada Muni. And just like a PhD, other PhD holders can grant a PhD. So therefore, a Mahabhagavat can make somebody into a Mahabhagavat, provided the person follows their instructions. So Prahlad heard very carefully and actually was completely transformed. Actually, he was a devotee from before. Narad Muni knew that. And then there were 3 interactions. We see 3 snapshots in time. Okay. So Hiranyakashipu was a very busy king, just like the many busy parents out there. And he had so many matters to take care of. So first, when little Prahlad was 5 years old and he started going to the school run by the sons of Shukracharya, Shanda and Amarka, Hiranyakashipu brought him to his, took him on his lap and asked Prahlad, what is the best thing you have ever learned? And then Prahlad gave an answer that completely surprised and disturbed Hiranyakashipu. And at that time, he called the teachers of Prahlad Maharaj, Chanda and Amarka and said, what are you teaching him? All this nonsense. And then the teacher said, no, we haven't taught him this. Then then he said, well, maybe the enemies are coming in disguise. You better take care of him properly. I don't want to see this horrible Krishna conscious behavior from this boy ever again. So he said that, and then they took him back. This was the second time, and they coached him very much. And he was a very excellent student. He learned all the subject matters, but he did not want to learn politics. He did not want to learn the differentiation between I, me, mine, and there, not me, not mine, like that. He did not want to learn that kind of divisive mentality. So the teachers, when they thought he was ready, they brought him before Hiranyakashipu, and when he came in front of Hiranyakashipu, again he preached to Hiranyakashipu, and then Hiranyakashipu was very angry. He told his assistants to kill the boy. This was it. He had had enough. So the assistants tried various things. They tried to trample him under elephants. Hiranyakashipu forced his mother Kayadhu to give poison to Prahlad. There was many other things that happened. They put him in a pit of poisonous snakes. They put him in boiling oil. They threw him down a cliff. They did all sorts of things. Even Holika, Hiranyakashipu's sister, perished in the fire, even though she had a boon never to be burned by fire, even though Prahlad was completely unharmed. There were so many things that happened. Finally, Hiranyakashipu was getting very depressed. When materialistic people don't get success, then they get depressed. When spiritual people don't get success, then they continue trying. Just like Srila Prabhupada continued trying, even though he did not get success for 30, 40 years of trying. So he continued. Hiranyakashipu was so depressed that Shanda and Amarka this time consoled their king, and they said, "Don't worry, we'll try once more. Please give him to us. Give him back to us. Don't get afraid. He's just a small boy." And then he, they took him back. They tried to teach him again, but this time Prahlad went further, and he started educating his classmates, the sons of the demons. And now Shanda and Amarka were really afraid. And he said, they not only can we not control him, the rest of the school is going to become Krishna conscious. They're going to become corrupt, from the demon's perspective. So they took him back to Hiranyakashipu. And this was the third interaction that we are witnessing right now. So in this third interaction, Hiranyakashipu decided to do the job personally. He said, all these useless people, my assistants could not kill this boy. I'll kill him personally. And there was an interaction. Prahlad tried to preach to him. And we see that there are some very wonderful words used in the verse. Okay, there are 2 words. One word is Mahabhagavata, which is describing Prahlad Maharaj. And the other word is Mahasura, which is describing the Daityaraj, Sri Hiranyakashipu. Is the greatest of demons. So Prahlad became a Mahabhagavat. He's well known, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Prahlada, Kapilo, Manu. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Prahlada, I forget the verse at this very moment. But he is well known. Prahlad is a great spiritual master of the whole universe. And at the same time, Prahlad, the Hiranyakashipu is being described as Mahasura, which is the greatest of all demons. So you see that this is a competition between the greatest of the devotees, Prahlad, and the greatest of the demons, Hiranyakashipu. So whenever um, there is a competition between the greatest of devotees and the greatest of demons, we can take heart that no matter how strong someone is, like just think about it. Hiranyakashipu had subdued the whole universe. He had brought all the demigods under his control, except for Brahma, Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Everybody, even Narada Muni was singing the praises of Hiranyakashipu. He had to. He was forced to do it. He was so strong. And Prahlad is a little 5-year-old, delicate little boy, and he hasn't practiced martial arts, and he doesn't know wrestling, and he doesn't know mystic power. Like he doesn't have all of these things, right? And but when there was a competition between them, um, Prahlad won, not by his own strength necessarily, but by the strength of his devotion, which is the strength of Krishna. Krishna gives us the strength to perform devotional service, and whenever we are faced with challenges in life, we can definitely rely on Krishna. So Hiranyakashipu, in the verse, you can see that Hiranyakashipu is being described as using harsh words. It is said that he's obsessed with anger, right? He's rusha, like unnecessary anger. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, kāma esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava, mahashano mahapapma vidhyena vihavarinam. So this tremendous lust and tremendous anger. Kāma esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava. They come from the mode of passion, and they are mahashano. They're very, very dangerous. Mahapapma, very, very highly sinful. Vidyena viharinam. They are our greatest enemies. The fundamental understanding there is that the Krodha comes from kāma, and kāma comes from the mode of passion, when we give into the mode of passion. Now, we might think that somebody might become krodhit, or somebody might become angry because they haven't gotten their kāma, they haven't gotten their sense gratification. But it's not a fact, right? Hiranyakashipu had 99.99% of all of his desires were fulfilled, right? He wanted immortality, and he would have remained immortal if he hadn't tortured his son, Prahlad. But you can see that regardless of how much sense gratification we get, how much kāma we get, the krodha will not go away, right? So the proof is here. Hiranyakashipu, he got all of his desires, and still he was so angry, right? So in the Bhagavatam, it is said that the lust burns like, even in the Bhagavad Gita, dushpurenana cha, the lust burns like a fire, and the giving of sense gratification to this lust is as good as pouring more fuel, giving more ghee, more wood to that fire, right? So the many times we hear, uh, especially those who have some spiritual knowledge but are not fully surrendered to Krishna, will say, you are still young, you are still, you have so much more to do in life. Fulfill all your sense desires, and when the desire for sense gratification reduces, then you can pursue Krishna consciousness. But it's not a fact. The fact is, Kaumaram Acharit Pradnyo, as Prahlad Maharaj has already given us the instruction, Dharman Bhagavataniha Durlabham Manusham Janma Tadapi Adhruvam Arthadam. So even though the human life is temporary and flickering and can go off at any moment, still it gives you Arthadam, and that Artha is the Artha of Krishna consciousness. That's super important. Um, you can never get happy or become perfected by trying to fulfill our sense gratification. Now we see that Prahlad is trying to instruct Hiranyakashipu. You see that Prahlad went through different phases, right? In the womb of his mother, he was quiet, he was listening, he was absorbing and assimilating all of the instruction that he was receiving from his spiritual master. And even when he came out of the womb and he was 5 years old and he was sent to the school, he was not preaching to anybody. He was just internally Krishna conscious, right? Until his father asked him that question, Prahlada, he asked him that question, what is the best thing you have learned in school? And Prahlad then spoke what he was meditating, what he was ruminating, what he was reflecting on always, constantly, constantly Krishna conscious. And then later on also, Prahlad did not preach to anybody. After a certain amount of time, when his own Krishna consciousness became perfected, it began to overflow, and he could naturally not control himself. He could not contain himself, and he began to instruct his schoolmates. Right. So we see that this also happens in the life of a devotee. A devotee is listening, hearing, absorbing, assimilating, and only speaks when they are spoken to in general. And then naturally, at a certain stage, like for example, the stage of our spiritual masters who walk on the street and tell everybody to chant Hare Krishna, or the Sankirtan devotees who are out on the street like crazy people, singing and dancing, whether or not anybody thinks what they might think of them, they don't care about that. They're just singing and dancing. So that's the stage that Prahlad Maharaj has already reached. Now, Srila Prabhupada says, and this is a very important instruction for us also, is that the Prabhupada gives an instruction from the Hitopadesha. He says, Vayapanam bhujanganam kevalam vishavardhanam murkhaya upadeshaya prakopayana kshantaye. So what he says is that if you feed um, a poisonous snake, then that the poisonous snake, just because you have fed the poisonous snake, the snake does not develop any kind of gratitude or anything. Its poison only grows more and more strong. Similarly, just like payapanam, paya means milk, payapanam bhujanganam, bhujanga means snake, payapanam bhujanganam kevalam vishavardhanam. Vardhanam means to increase, vishavardhanam means to increase the poison. Similarly, murkhaya upadeshaya prakopaya na shantaya. If you give good advice to a saintly person, Srila Prabhupada received the advice to not print newspapers but make books from a materialistic person in Delhi, and he took that advice. Right, when a saintly person receives advice from, no matter where they get the advice, they don't say, "Who are you to tell me to publish books?" He did not say that. He accepted the advice of this person and says, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Books are more substantial and they stay." And so he started printing books. But murkhaya, if a person is a fool, when they receive good instruction from a saintly person, then prakopaya, their anger only increases. They become very angry, just like Hiranyakashipu has become very angry. His lips are trembling. He's super angry. Because materialistic people are, even though we all know prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha, everything is being done by the actions of the three modes of material nature. Hiranyakashipu also has got all his power from the actions of the three modes of material nature, right? Even then, ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. The person who is blinded with pride thinks that they have actually acquired this whole thing. Okay, so he's chastising Prahlad. But he does not understand that his chastisement actually applies to himself. It says, it says that vinasha kale viparita buddhi, which means that when a person is about to be destroyed, then their intelligence acts in opposite way, because prakriti kriyamani gunai karmani sarvasha, the modes of material nature are acting in such a way that that person's life is about to come to an end, and they start doing all kinds of stupid things. Hiranyakashipu does not realize that he's about to die. Similarly, materialistic people don't realize that they're about to die. Like if you look at all the great warlords, all the great dacoits, all the Naxalites, all the different political leaders constantly struggling for supremacy, they don't realize that they're just one step away from death. So whenever we may be tempted to engage in blasphemy of the devotees, this is also very important. Blasphemy of devotees is like death, vinasha kale, because our life is our devotional service, right? And if we commit Vaishnava-aparadha by blaspheming the devotees, then then that is like a death, because our devotional service will die, and then we'll also suffer a material death, whereas a devotee actually never dies. Kautaya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. So unless we commit offenses. Okay. We also have already noted that devotees don't have to practice any mystical um, practices, or we don't have to necessarily strive very hard for our defense. We do basic things. In Mayapur, when they were dacoits, the devotees bought some guns. The dacoits did not come back after that, right? But anyways, now coming back to the verse, we hear in the verse number 15 that when Hiranyakashipu punched that pillar, the pillar could have cracked, the pillar could have fallen, but the kind of sound that came out of that pillar was something that had never been heard before. In fact, not that it had never been heard before. Brahma, for example, had heard that kind of sound whenever the partial dissolutions were about to take place, but it was so powerful that it sounded that the coverings of the universe were being ruptured, were being broken. Now, if you think about what the coverings of the universe are, we have already covered that in the 6th canto, right? So there are 7 coverings of the material universe, right? There's the covering of earth, then there's the covering of water outside it, then the covering of fire outside it, the covering of air outside it, then there's sky, which is just empty space, and then there's the Mahat Tattva outside it, and then there's the false ego that covers the whole material universe, right? So these 7 layers are very difficult to penetrate because each layer is 10 times thicker than the previous layer, right? So one layer is a certain number of yojanas thick, the other layer is 10 times thicker than that, 10 times thicker than that. So actually very, very difficult. The only people that we know who have penetrated the coverings of the universe, we know that when Vamanadev kicked, he accidentally, just carelessly made a little hole from which the Ganga is flowing into our universe through all the heavenly planets. Another time when Arjuna in the 11th canto, we'll see Arjuna and no, in the 10th canto, I believe, Arjuna and Krishna went through the coverings of the universe and reached the abode of Mahavishnu. For example, we read that, but it's extremely difficult. Now, it's also said that the demigods, Aja, including Brahma, were afraid of this sound. Why are they afraid of this sound? Suppose we hear a crash sound, right, outside our window, for example, right? It sounds like 2 cars colliding, right? And then we might think, oh, is it my car? Has my car been has been hit by somebody else? Have I been hit? Like that. We look outside, we see, okay, it's not my car. Then we feel some relief. Maybe two other cars collided. Okay. So similarly, even though this car is not my body, it is an extended thing. So my car, my house, my family, my home, my neighborhood, my city, my country, my community, all of these different things are actually different kinds of extended bodily consciousness. So whenever we hear a crash, whenever something hits any of these coverings that we perceive as mine, so then we feel afraid. Now, nobody is immune from this fear. Now, just see in this verse, Aja, Lord Brahma, who is our Sampradaya Acharya, who is number 1 in our disciplic succession, who received Tene Brahma Hida Adi Kavaya knowledge directly from Sri Krishna, that person is feeling this kind of fear. Now, actually, he is not feeling fear, especially because our Brahma is a devotee Brahma. He's a pure devotee, but he is expressing this to teach us, something. Why? Because in the Bhagavatam, and we will read this as we come. Bhayam Dvitiya Bhiniveshitaha. Why? Syad. So why is that Bhayam Dvitiya Bhiniveshitaha? Which means that all living entities are actually afraid because they are Dvitiya. They are feeling separate from Krishna. So the moment we feel separate from Krishna, then we start, it's called Viparyayo Smriti. We feel we are different from Krishna. Then we start identifying with these different kinds of material abodes as ours. Like this body is the first material abode. There's a subtle body and there's a gross body. And after that, there is our home, then there's our community, then there's our city, there's our state, our country, our planet, all of these different things. They're all our abodes. We think that these are our abodes only because we are not in Krishna consciousness. Right? So Bhayam Vitya Bhiniveshita Syat. This is in the 11th canto. Mataji, if you can please bring up 11 to 37. I think everybody will love to read this verse together. And then we'll focus on something else deeper into this aspect of fear. Okay. Okay, maybe you're unable to do that. We'll leave it. It's 11 to 37 for those of you who want to read it. You can read by yourselves since you're at your screens. Okay. Now we read in the Bhagavad Gita that actually fear is also Krishna. Okay, here's the verse. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, see, Bhayam Dvitiya Biniveshadasya. Please go to the word by word. Bhayam, see, fear, Dvitiya, in something seeming to be other than the Lord, right? Abhiviniveshadaha, because of absorption. We are absorbed in something other than the Lord. Syat, it will arise. Ishat, from the Supreme Lord. Apetasya, for one who has turned away. Viparyahas, misidentification. Asmritihi, forgetfulness. Tat, of the Lord. Maya, by the illusory energy. Ata, therefore, Buddha, an intelligent person. Abhajit, should worship fully. Tam, him, bhaktya, with devotion. Ekaya, unalloyed. Isham, the Lord. Guru Devata Atma, one who sees his own spiritual master as his Lord and very soul. So there's many more deeper meanings into this verse, but specifically why I quoted this verse is that I want to see this. Look at the translation. This is by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of the absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. Hiranyakashipu was like that, but all the demigods are also like that. We are also like that. We are absorbed in the external illusory energy of the Lord because that's why we are feeling fear. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 10, Krishna says that he is fear, right? He's fear. Fear is also Krishna, and he says Abhayam, fearlessness is also Krishna. So now somebody can wonder, reading the Bhagavad Gita, how come it's like this? Krishna has fear and Krishna has also fearlessness. But we have to understand that Krishna is absolute. So obviously all the qualities are in Krishna. But one important thing is that all contradictions are only reconciled in Krishna. That Krishna is a thief, but Krishna is very pleasurable, even though when he is being a thief, right? So similarly, different devotees understand that Krishna, is actually, we can understand from his pastimes that Krishna is the reconciliation of all contradictions. Fear and fearlessness are both Krishna. Now, how is that? How is fear and fearlessness both Krishna? So how it is that when a soul takes shelter of Krishna, then that person's fear transforms into fearlessness. That bhaya becomes abhaya. When does it become abhaya? When we take to the charana of the Lord. So abhaya charana aravinda is the lotus feet of the Lord that provide fearlessness. So Srila Prabhupada was named Abhaya Charanarinda by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. His name was Abhaya before, and this Abhaya Charanarinda, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur made it very clear that you can only be Abhaya when you are at the Charanarinda of the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So here, therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. So this is, so now what happens when we don't take shelter of the Lord? Okay, so actually, when we don't take shelter of the Lord, that is the definition of the mode of ignorance. Mataji, can we take verse 1835 from the Bhagavad Gita, BG 1835? Thank you. So we know that Bhayam and Abhayam both are Krishna, but we know not SB, BG. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful. Okay, see, Yaya Swapnam Bhayam Shokam Vishadam Madamevacha Navimunchati Durmedha Dhiti Sa Partha Tamasi. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pratha, is in the mode of darkness. Okay, so this is very important to realize that this is the mode of darkness. So whenever we are feeling fear, that means that we are in the tamasic vritti. Whenever we are feeling fear, right? So the only thing that we can do is take shelter, turn towards Krishna, and immediately that bhayam gets transformed into abhayam. Okay, so we'll do a quick summary of what we have looked at, and then we'll do some takeaways. Okay, so in the verses that we are looking at, 7, 8, 14, and 15, if we can bring that up, Mataji, 7, 8, 14. In the verses that we are looking at, there are previous verses in this, in which Hiranyakashipu is addressed as Shri. He is respectable. Why is he respectable? Because he is in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord, contact with the Sankirtan of the pure devotee of the Lord, and which means that he will soon be in contact with the Lord himself. So he's actually very, very fortunate. Okay, so if we go up, there are two words. There are few words that we should look at. Duruktahi, by harsh words. This harsh words is a symptom of ignorance, right? And then Rusha is coming from the mode of passion, when right, and his Prahlad is a Mahabhagavat. Swayambhur Narada Shambhu Prahlada Kapilo Manu. Again and again I make a mistake on that verse. It's okay. He is a great devotee. Mahasura, Hiranyakashipu, is a great demon, right? He is about to kill, and he punches the pillar. Krodha comes from kāma, and Krodha or kāma can never be extinguished by giving in to sense desire. They have to be engaged in the service of Krishna. That is the only way to overcome both kāma and Krodha. Okay, we can go to the next verse, because we have seen how sense gratification is like the fuel, the fire. So he is he's chastising Prahlad with harsh words, which comes from his ignorance, but he himself is about to die, because vinasha kale viparita buddhi, where he is coming back. And we learn how we are learning from this example how it is impossible actually to preach to someone who is a fool, right? We have to carefully assess the situation of the person before we start preaching to them, right? I've gotten into, in the early days when I was on the street, I'd constantly be getting into these long arguments with people, and we should just try to save our energy for those who are actually interested in it. Okay, because Bhayapanam Mujanganam Kevalam Vishavardhanam. So we cannot expect a fool to understand devotional service. It's very difficult. Of course, great devotees like Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters can even make a fool like me, for example, understands a little bit, but we should see where we are at in our own Krishna consciousness, and if we can actually influence the other person. So when he punched the pillar, a terrible sound came. It was not just the cracking of the pillar. It felt like the bursting of the whole universe. And it felt like that the demigods were afraid that their abodes were being destroyed, and they were afraid because they were identifying with the material energy. So we have different kinds of extended bodily consciousness, like my body, my family, my home, my office, my car, my this, my that, all of these different things. My Guru Maharaj says, my car, my wife, my child, my yeah. He says like my, yeah, like that he says. So Lord Brahma is a Sampradaya Acharya. He is not actually afraid, but he's actually demonstrating that for our benefit here. Right? We saw how fear is also Krishna, and fearlessness is also Krishna. And I will now conclude with a few takeaways. Okay, so this is the lust actually leads to anger, and satisfied or unsatisfied lust always leads to anger. Right? It's a chain. Right? So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right? He gives the 7 links in the chain. How dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu upajayate, sangat sanjayate kāma, kāmat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. Right? So it happens like that. Lust always leads to anger, satisfied or unsatisfied. Important. And then we are all under the modes of material nature, right? We cannot act outside of the modes of material nature unless we are taking shelter of Krishna in that particular moment. Okay, this is very important. Another important point in this is that fear and fearlessness are actually both Krishna, but when we are fearful, if we take shelter of Krishna, then we transcend the mode of ignorance and we actually become fearless. Abhaya. Bhaya becomes Abhaya if we take shelter of Abhaya Charanaravinda, the one whose lotus feet actually give all fearlessness, right? But if we are in the mode of ignorance, if we remain in the mode of ignorance, that means if we continue to feel fearful, that means we have remained in the mode of ignorance and we cannot take shelter. We have to somehow or the other transcend that mode of ignorance by chanting Hare Krishna, by remembering Krishna, and so on. So just as the auspicious Lord Nrsimhadev is just about to appear in front of Prahlad Maharaj, in order to save and protect him and take care of him. Similarly, Lord Krishna will surely appear in our hearts, in our consciousness, in our lives in different ways if we just simply take shelter of him. So simply we have to take shelter of Krishna, because as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Rakshishyati iti Vishwaso, right? So he will protect us. If we have that much confidence, then Krishna will definitely protect us, right? There is no doubt he has been protecting us even when we were not asking for protection. So there is actually no doubt that Krishna will always protect every single living entity. Okay, so I'll stop here and see if there's any questions, comments, or any corrections even. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Unfortunately, I can't hear your question because I have a problem with my sound. So I will request you to please type it in the chat. I will look at the chat. Okay. Thank you. I know it's much better to be able to say your question, but it's unfortunate.
Mataji, Bhagavati Mataji, can you once speak and see if Prabhuji can hear us?
Prabhuji, are you able to hear us? No, Mataji.
No, okay.
No, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mother Parabhakti.
Dear devotees, if you have any question, you can please post it on the chat so that Prabhuji can see and I can also read out.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I can now actually hear audio because I just dialed into the meeting. So I will answer the questions that are already asked by chat. Hare Krishna. Sorry about that. I was a little bit late. I could have done that before. Okay. So Mother Parabhakti is asking a question that you mentioned that Vamandev and Arjuna along with Krishna penetrated 7 levels. What was about the pure devotees? They don't have to go like that. They don't have to penetrate through the coverings of the material universe like that, because the understanding is that the spiritual world is not necessarily a physical place, in the sense that there's not a geographical distance separating us from the spiritual world. There is a distance of consciousness. So the pure devotees who go into the spiritual world don't have to pass through the layers of the material coverings of the universe, because they have reached the spiritual world to their consciousness. So, for example, there are many pastimes of our Vaishnava acharyas going into meditation and getting, some prasad from Krishna, for example, in their meditation. So this does not. We don't have to necessarily pass through the coverings of the mechanical way of trying to exit the material. I hope that helps. Sure. When a devotee comes from a non-devotee background, so devotee gradually all good for speech all around the world. Then why is it not able to communicate?
own family. Who is your own family after that? Huh? So you are, let's say you're 35 years old right now. Okay? So 36 years ago, who was your family? You know, and let's say you live for 100 years. Okay? So 65 years from now, who will be your family? So in general, we have lived millions and billions and trillions of lifetimes. So every single living entity, including the rabbit on the in the forest and the dog out there, has been our family member at some point of time. You know, we have lived so many lifetimes again and again. You know, somebody has been our teacher, somebody has been our colleague, somebody has been our family member. These things have happened. So we should understand Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Krishna is a part, everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna. So therefore everybody is our family member. Okay? So ultimately, just like Krishna does not force anybody. Krishna says, Yethechasi Tathakuru. Tanvimri Shaita Detas, Yethechasi Tathakuru. You do as you please, he tells Arjuna. He's not forcing Krishna to
Prabhu, we cannot hear you.
Babuji, we cannot hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, perfect. So just as Krishna does not force, similarly we cannot force. Every living entity has their own free will. And another thing, Akshar Prabhu, to remember is that we are on a journey of many countless lifetimes. Because this devotional service, who knows how many devotees have helped us in this lifetime, how many devotees have helped us in the previous lifetime, how many Vaishnavas have spent their blood, sweat and tears for us. Maybe somebody was a family member reaching to us and we never listened all our entire lifetime. No, we don't know all of these different kinds of situations that we have ourselves seen. So you should not think that your family members are not going to take to Krishna consciousness. You just practice Krishna consciousness yourself sincerely and you should inspire them to take up. Sometimes what happens, and it has happened with me for sure, that the more materially attached we are with a certain person, the more heavily we push that person to take Krishna consciousness. But it backfires because that person only feels the heaviness, not the devotion upon pushing. Okay, so keep trying and don't think about whether who is taking, who is not taking. It is up to them. Our job is simply to give according to somebody's capacity to take. Okay? So on the street when we are, sometimes we can wave, right? And they can wave back, and that's all. Then they will pass on. Sometimes we smile at them and they smile back. Sometimes somebody chants one mantra. Sometimes somebody takes a book. Sometimes somebody gives a donation. According to their capacity. Okay? That's what we have. And we have a couple of others. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, dear devotees. But there's a couple of questions. Sometimes practicing devotees like me feel anxiety and fear. When and how to deal with it? Okay. All of us, Mataji, feel anxiety and fear. And it's a natural thing, feel anxiety and fear. It's an opportunity for us to take shelter of it. Right? So in our Sampadaya Acharya, again, Lord Brahma gives us the instruction. He gives us the instruction that Tattenukampam tu samikshamana munjana evatmakatam vipakam tadvagvapurvir vidadan namaste yo jive muktipade sadayama. So Lord Brahma is giving us this instruction in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 8. He is giving us this instruction that says, I should accept everything that's happening to me as my own reaction to past activities and take shelter of Krishna. So whenever we feel fear and anxiety, we should use it as a means to take shelter of Krishna. And the more we feel fear, the more we should take shelter of Krishna. The more we feel anxiety, the more we should take shelter of Krishna. Generally, always keep taking shelter of Krishna. And that is our practice. That is our practice of Krishna. Okay? So don't worry. All of us are in different stages of the same devotion. Thank you very much. Okay. All right.
Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhuji, we were also speaking about one verse from Bhagavad Gita regarding the determination in different modes. Can you please explain more on that, Prabhuji? Determination.
Yeah, Uttaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya, Tattat, Karma, Pravartana, Sangatyaga, Sato, Vitte, Shadhir, Bhakti, Prasiddhi. So, our determination is meant to be in the mode of pure goodness. For devotees, our determination is meant to be in the mode of pure goodness. What is that pure goodness? That pure goodness means that I am doing, like we saw in that 11th canto verse, I am determined to please my spiritual master, my thought, word, and deed. Now, there will be a time when we will realize that our spiritual master is actually also witnessing our thoughts, not just our words and deeds. When we are new to devotional service, we might feel that I can fool my spiritual master. Actually, it's not possible. Because spiritual master is the external manifestation of Paramatma himself. So therefore, Paramatma can hear all my thoughts. Therefore, spiritual master can also hear the sum total of all my thoughts. So that our determination to please our spiritual master, and our acharyas with our every thought, word, and so that is pure goodness. So below pure goodness is the mode of material goodness. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there are the determination in the mode of goodness, the determination in the mode of passion, and determination in the mode of ignorance are all described. Okay, so let us look at Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 and the determination in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. There are three specific verses just before the one we saw on the screen earlier. There are two verses, one for goodness and one for passion, right? So essentially, determination in the mode of goodness leads us to a practice of devotional service that is conducive for more devotion. So it's like that. So waking up early, for example, is one of the modes. Taking only sattvic foods that are offered to Sri Krishna. All of these are very conducive. So if you can share that verse, Mataji, that you're just sharing on that verse. So this one was the one about ignorance. There's one. Go to 34. Just the back button on the same verse. Down, go down, and say previous. No, on the 1835, scroll down and just previous. So here, yayatu dharma kamarthan pratyadharate Arjuna prasangena phalakankshi ditisa partharajasi. So when by determination, which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification. This is the nature of passion. So all the great business people, all the politicians, all the different, they also have determination, but their determination is the mode of passion, which actually binds them to that fruitive result. Somebody who wins the election wants to hold on to power. Somebody who earns a lot of money wants to enjoy that money, wants to use that money to make even more money. And like that, they don't want to, you go and ask somebody, in Vaisheshika Prabhu's book, 4 Questions, there's an example of a person who was making a donation. He was dying. He was definitely dying. But he was very impressed by the science of bhakti, and he was writing a check to make a donation. He was dying anyways, but still he confessed to Vaisheshika Prabhu that even though I know that I'm not going to take any of this, now giving it away voluntarily feels very difficult for me. So that is the determination in the mode of passion. If you go to the previous verse, scroll down and click on previous. Right? So this is the material mode of goodness. Satyaya dharate mana pranendriya kriya yogena vidbhacharinya dhisisa partha sat. So son of Pratha, that determination is unbreakable. It is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, which controls the activities of mind, life, and senses. Determination is the mode of goodness. So our determination can be in different modes. Our goal is to take the determination in the mode of goodness and transform it into the determination in the mode of pure goodness, transform pure devotion. That's our highest. That part is described elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, not in the because it's a chapter about the modes of material. And this is about the most detailed names. But there are more and more higher and higher levels of determination. Just look at our determination was, and we know the difference between higher and lower level. Okay? Take for example, His Holiness Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And his determination is so strong that even though he is performing devotional service, there are so many of us like Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He cannot even walk. But even when he was able to walk, when he came to Toronto, every step that he took, he was chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Every breath that he took, he was chanting. So that kind of determination, like my spiritual master, many of our spiritual masters, very, very elderly, they cannot move about. There are pains here, pains there. This doesn't work, that doesn't work. My spiritual master has problems with hearing, right? He has problems with so many different health issues. But the determination is to preach. That determination come to, and if we keep following this process, we will come to that state one day. We will come to that.
Thank
you.
Yes, Prabhuji, it really helps a lot. There is one hand raised. Akshay Prabhu, you can please ask your question.
Akshay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam. So, Prabhu, there are some devotees, like we find them in temple at festivals, and then like we see them at cricket matches or somewhere when there are popular events, and their devotees, even they want to do prajalpa in the deity kitchen. So, how to deal with those? Like,
you don't engage in it. If you are in a position where it is your job to correct that person, such as you are that person's mentor, or you are that person's senior god sibling, and that person has sought advice from you on how to improve their bhakti, then you can gently correct them. But this question was just asked recently. Bhakti Prabha Swami Maharaj was here in a home program here in Toronto, and somebody asked that question, and Maharaj said, well, generally speaking, you should try not to correct anybody. You should only correct somebody who is seeking advice from you. So I had also asked this question many times to many devotees, and my spiritual master said, correction is given to a disciple. In other words, correction is given to somebody who is asking for correction. I've made this mistake many times, too many times to remember, where I am kind of being supposedly well-meaning, but only end up disturbing that person unnecessarily. Right? So we should not. So let it be. Let them be. They will come to the proper standard. Prakrita Bhakta will come gradually. They will come to the higher and higher levels of devotional service. We should just worry about ourselves and make sure that we are not thinking about cricket in the deity kitchen. Okay? So just focus on our own consciousness. Like everything that we do, whether we are washing a pot or whether we are cooking a preparation, we have the ability, or whether we're chanting our own japa. My Guru Maharaj says always to me that the whole solutions to the whole world's problems is inside your bead bag. The deeper I go into my chanting, the more purity I will have to be able to impact the consciousness of the whole world. That offering that I'm preparing can change the consciousness of the whole congregation, right? For the better or the worse. If I'm thinking about cricket, then everybody who will eat that prasad will think about cricket, whether they want to think about it or not. But if I'm thinking about Krishna, then they will naturally think about Krishna. Gradually, our goal is to override our consciousness with our spiritual master's consciousness, and then use our consciousness to help others to the extent that they want to be helped. Like there's a famous saying, you can lead a man to wisdom. So it's like you can lead a horse to the water. You can't make him drink. You can't force the horse to drink water, right? You can take him to the water, but you can't force him to drink. You can lead a man to wisdom. You can't force him to think, right? That is a very, very important thing for us. We cannot actually force anybody to do anything. Krishna himself does not force. So speak of us. So let's just focus on our own consciousness primarily and not worry so much about other people's consciousness unless they have approached us for correction. Thank you, Prabhu. Mother Prabhu, Parabhakti has.
Yes, Mataji, you can please unmute and ask your question. Parabhakti Mataji, you can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji, nice and clear.
Prabhuji, yeah, my question is, Prabhuji, as you mentioned that as Prabhuji asked if somebody is doing prajalpa before deities and how can we correct that person? It may happen that that person doesn't know that before deities we should not talk unnecessarily. Only one should glorify either devotees or Lord Krishna. So if we know this and if we can tell that person that we should only glorify bhaktas and devotees. So can't we tell this thing? He doesn't know, so he doesn't know that he's making a mistake or he's committing a mistake. But we know that he's offending Krishna. So if we correct in that way, we shouldn't correct him.
Depends on the relationship, Mataji. Like everything depends on relationship. So if you have a relationship with that person, then yes. If you don't have a relationship with that person will just go away thinking that you're rude. We can lead by example. Like for example, we can smile, we can nod and move on to the next altar, for example. Right? Or so in general, building a relationship is important. And then again, there are actually we are not even supposed to glorify anybody else in front of Krishna, except our acharyas and disciplic successors. We're not supposed to glorify like some third party, for example, even though they might be a great devotee. Right? So there are so many such nuances, like so it's difficult. We are also not supposed to correct someone in front of the deity, by the way. So there are so many things to keep in mind. I think the best thing is to really focus on that relationship. If the relationship is not there, very difficult. Now, if somebody is making something really obnoxious, like they're putting the Lord in the background and taking a picture of the Lord, it says, you can take pictures of the Lord, but don't put him in the background. You can yes, probably say
exactly,
that like that. But in general, we have to take correction. We have to tread very lightly when it comes to it. And it's very difficult to do. We get very irritated.
Yeah, I was about to ask this, that some devotees takes picture, they just do back towards Lord Krishna and they just sit in this way that their legs towards deities. So yeah, at that point we can point out. Huh?
Yes, be very careful. That's all I can say. I mean, very advanced devotees can offer correction to anybody. That's a different thing. Because of their purity, the correction will be accepted. But we should be super careful.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
For that clarification. And I see
We
two
have
more hand raises.
Mother
Prabhuji, you have time? There are two more hand raises.
I have some time.
Yes. Yes, Mataji, you can please ask your question. Manjari Leela Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, such a wonderful class. Thank you so much for this class. And I have just a follow-up question regarding the deities, etiquettes, how we're supposed to be behaving. So in the initial days, if we didn't know this and we were offering obeisances to a senior devotee who's elderly too, in the front of deity, but then I've heard that you shouldn't offer obeisances to anyone, besides Lord and in front of the Lord. So now, how do is it right to continue to offer obeisances to the devotee in front of the Lord? Or should we not? I mean, because we've done it before, and now we find this.
You can always offer respect. Like, for example, you can fold your palms, for example, that is all right. When we're talking about obeisances, we're talking about like getting down on the floor, for example. And that is allowed to your spiritual master and to the spiritual master, like in disciplic succession. So we offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada in front of the deity. There's no problem. Right? So because they are in disciplic succession. Now, there's a famous verse by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita, where he mentions the 6 types of things that we should not, that will reduce our bhakti. He says, Atyahara prayashascha, prajalpo niyamagraha, jarasangascha laulyam, bhakti vinasya. Right? So there are 6 things. In that, there's a word called niyamagraha. One of them is niyamagraha, which means not following the rules and regulations sufficiently. And the second one is niyam agraha, which means overriding everything else for the sake of the rules and regulations. Right? So sometimes 2 devotees might meet each other, and out of ecstasy, they might do something that you are not technically supposed to do in front of them. But Krishna sees that. Krishna feels that. Krishna is not out there to catch us doing something wrong. He's trying to catch us doing something right. So Krishna is a reservoir of compassion and kindness and forgiveness and all of these things. That doesn't mean knowingly we should take advantage of Krishna, but that also doesn't mean that we should be so nervous about all the mistakes that we might have committed in the past. The fact of the matter is you are in devotional service right now. That means Krishna is permitting you to be in devotional service. He likes that you're in devotional service. He wants your service. He wants you to, right? So this is happening. So I think we should see what we can do to subtly correct ourselves and continue with us. I make so many mistakes on a daily basis, like the aparadha shodhana mantras that we do after deity worship. Aparadha sahasrani kriyante harashamya nasomati mam matva kshamat madhusudana, which is I am making thousands and thousands of mistakes. Some I know, some I don't know. Some I know and are unavoidable. Some I don't know at all that I'm. Please know me as your servant and please correct me. So it's the duty of the master to forgive the servant. And Krishna will offer us correction through our heart, our own heart. He will tell us, this is how we should do this better.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
I request Tiffany Mataji, you can please ask your question.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so very much for such a lovely class. And I'm so glad that you gave class on the verses that you did, because you really kind of animated everything with the way that you taught us. My question is in regard to Manjari Leela's question just now about paying obeisances to devotees in the temple room. And I was taught when I first came to Krishna consciousness that when we enter the temple, the first thing that we do is bow down as soon as we enter, as to pay obeisances to the devotees, and then move into Srila Prabhupada and the deities. Is that correct, Prabhuji?
That is 100% correct. So we are doing that from a distance.
Yes.
Just at the entrance of the temple room, practically speaking. We're doing that from a distance, acknowledging all the devotees who are present there once. But what Manjari Leela Mataji was asking is, let's say a sannyasi walks into the room, who may not be our spiritual master, for example. And then naturally somebody might offer obeisances. Even that is okay. Especially if somebody is very rarely seen, or these things happen. Like you have to kind of use the time, place, circumstance angle. And in general, we should not make it a habit to offer obeisance to each other in front of the people. It's an important thing. So just to preserve that, especially new devotees when they come into the temple, they want to touch your feet. They want to they want to express their love and gratitude by doing those kinds of gestures. And to those devotees, we can say, listen, we're not supposed to do this. In fact, in Krishna consciousness, this is how we offer obeisance. Teach them. So we can do it away from the out of sight of the altar, for example. We can definitely offer obeisance to each other. In some cases, very senior devotees actually request us not to offer obeisances because they can't get down on the floor. And they have problems with their knees, legs, and all this stuff, and it's just embarrassing. We just end up embarrassing them by going on the floor, and they cannot do it. They look like they don't want it, out of their humility. So we should take all of those things into account. See how that person wants us to express our appreciation, admiration.
And yes, because I feel like if we do it when we first come into the room, then it's already taken care of. We offered obeisances to all of the devotees. And perhaps if
even the ones that we cannot see, even the ones that we cannot see, all the demigods who are in the room, in Mangalarti, the Vedas are in the room, waiting altar door to open. So exactly.
Wonderful. Yes, Prabhuji. And also, how about if we say a senior devotee who we have great affection for, perhaps we can just offer obeisances in our mind to them, when we see them.
Yeah, that can be done. There is no harm in offering obeisance to every single spirit soul within our mind. If we can actually be that present. Such a person is very great who can offer obeisance. In fact, the pure devotee does that. They are constantly offering obeisance. There's no harm. It is said by Rupa Goswami that Etiquette, if a person has actually received initiation, then they deserve to be offered physical obeisance physically by getting down. So that's so Vaishnava etiquette is very, very evolved. It's hard to implement all of that. Like once I met D.B. Govinda Maharaj had come, Govinda Maharaj had come to Toronto for the Rath Yatra, and I was picking him up from his hotel room. I was dropping him off to his hotel room, and he told me beforehand, no obeisances in public, okay? And I can say to him, no, Diksha Sichet Pranadivesta Vajantamisham, right? No, but that is his wish, not to do that in public. But then I got to accompany him to his room, and there was no harm in offering obeisances.
Yes.
He just doesn't want to create awkwardness for others, because just think about a hotel lobby and all the karmi people sitting there. Who is this person who is accepting obeisances? Oh my God, is he exploiting him? all those kinds of things come in there. And that is kind of Vaishnava Aparadha, right? So the devotee, we have to follow the lead of the people. See what they want.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And thank you again.
Mother.
Looking forward to you giving class for us again, Prabhuji. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Very, very beautiful class and very nice answers, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your time and association, Prabhuji. Thank you for accepting the request and coming on the call. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Shama Gauri. This is such a loving community. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji, for all the association. If there are no questions, we can end the call. Let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Bhagavatam ki jai,
Shri Jai.
Mahabhagavatam
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Radhe
Thank you so much,
Radhe.
Gauranga.
Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare
Nityananda.
Krishna. Gauranga, Nityananda.
Hari Bol.